Man, like, we got started like in 93 or so. You know what I mean? I was in a prior group, and you know, me and my partner was on the outs, so I was just trying to figure out, formulate what my next move was going to be. So, in the midst of that, I was having somewhat of a, I won't necessarily say an argument, a discussion with my manager at the time, and you know, G, he was in a prior group with two other brothers, and they just happened to be walking up the street hearing me and my manager engaging in the conversation out the street, which we really shouldn't even been engaging in the street about what we was talking about, but we was on the block, so it wasn't really nothing and shit, and it was only us out there, so, but, Garen walked past, he heard us talking, he was like, yo, you rhyme? I was like, yeah, I'm rhyming shit, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, can we rhyme for you? So, him and this group pretty much was auditioning for us to a certain degree, and you know, we exchanged numbers, and you know what I mean, got with them the next day, was working with them a little bit or whatever the case may be, and you know, I really took more of a liking to Garen because it was like they were working on their material, and he was coming up with some dope ideas, and his partners was really like dissing his ideas, but the ideas they were coming up with wasn't really like, what's up? It wasn't really like relevant for what was going on and shit. So, you know, Garen started coming through, getting with me just on a regular personal shit, not just music and shit. You know what I'm saying? So we built our own little relationship, or whatever the case may be, just dealing with personal. You know what I mean? And then we always had that common bond as far as with the music. So in the mix of that, you know, I was my plan originally was I was just going to do some solo shit and you know, feature him. This around the time when Dre was featuring Snoop and stuff of that nature and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
And besides that, I was a young buck anyway too, so I was still learning the game off of, you know what I'm saying, just meeting up with Hawk and just being in that whole little situation in that circle. I was still learning the game.
So I got a friend named Daryl who used to always tell me about production shit, right?
I forgot all about this.
I had a friend named Daryl, so I already knew Court, you know what I'm saying? We played high school ball together, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, so I already knew Court, but Daryl was telling me like, yo, Court do beats, you need to get Woody and shit, you know what I mean? Daryl, my man, but Daryl is throwed the fuck off. Shout out to Daryl and shit, you know what I'm saying? But Daryl is throwed the fuck off. It's to the point where, like, you're not going to necessarily believe what that motherfucker say and shit, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, boom, I got this job at a nursing home, and Court happened to be working at the nursing home and shit. So I ran into him, he like, yo, I've been trying to get with you, Daryl ain't telling you. And I'm like, yeah, he told me, but I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So regardless of the fact, boom, went over Court crib. I took G over there, went over Court crib and shit. The motherfucker was playing beats, and it was fucking my head up because he was the first person I ever heard that do beats that sound official to beats that's out in the mainstream. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, people did beats, but his beats was comparing to all the other producers and shit. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, he put 3 beats on tape. This back when the cassette tapes was out. You know what I mean? Got 3 beats, did some shit to it, boom. And from that point on, you know what I'm saying? We just started vibing and clicking and shit, you know what I'm saying? And everything kind of more developed. Like I said, I would feature Garen on songs. And then one time I had this verse and I said something about the Minds of Soul in the verse. And I was like, damn, the Minds of Soul, that name sound alright and shit. So I started running it past people like, did they ever hear of a group called the Minds of Soul? Like, nah. So I'm like, yo, that's what we running with and shit, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. Because at this time, he done did enough features with me and shit. So we was already like gelling anyway, so we just put it together. It opened up, became the sound of it and shit. And we was just running with it like that and shit, you know what I'm saying? On that tip and shit, you know?
Yeah. Definitely co-sign that right there. Definitely co-sign that. I mean, a lot of features, my nigga. A lot of features.
How would you describe the sound of the Minds of Soul? Of course, you can answer that.
Minds of Soul, I mean, it's kind of hard to just be like, because, you know, when you're trying to come up with a sound or you're trying to do anything, you don't necessarily be like, all right, this is what I'm going after. but it was more or less like something of I can speak on how other people define the sound. Like we always had like a real dark sound. It was always grimy. You know, we always had like mad influences. You know what I'm saying? We always was influenced by like the Wu-Tang. We was influenced by the boot camp and stuff like that. So our sounds, I would say that it's mad dark. You know, we always had like that boom bap, you know, that kick, that snare, that hitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I first started out, I was working with the ASR 10, which was I got it like the month after it came out. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of cats is talking about that's a classic machine. I've been working with the ASR 10 since February. It came out in like January or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And the sound is always dark. You know, we always had samples cut up. You know, to the point where we never necessarily really used a lot of samples, but it was always something that we was kind of like we would just cut it up and then manipulate it in certain ways to make it sound original or something like that.
And just to feed off of that, I mean, like the sound, to me, the sound was always something like it was underground, but it was also hip hop, but it could also be mainstream too. You know what I mean? So like, I think us as a group, like we had the ability to hit various different levels in the music game. You know what I mean? So if we needed to be on that underground level, we could be there. If we needed to be a little mainstream, we could be there. Basically, it was all about us thinking that our sound could sell units and push units, and the sound was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as far as the sound goes, as far as MC wise, it was like you know, niggas used to always just bounce off of each other, like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like, you know, you have like G, who shit was more or less like on some like more smoothed out, highly sophisticated, and then you had a Hawk who shit was more or less like on some everyday, just hit you on, and totally in that contrast, you know, like when you're dealing with a certain sound, you want to have like a contrast, you know what I mean? You want that yin and that yang, and you know, these two cats right here, they had that sound that just kind of like meshed together.
Yeah, and Court was Court is the centerpiece of that whole situation. You know what I mean? So, and the only reason that happened is because of the beats. You know what I mean? The production. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as you heard something, or as soon as I heard something, if I liked it, I automatically knew that Hawk liked it. You know what I mean? It wasn't too many tracks or too many things that we listened to or recorded off of that we ain't vibe to.
Yeah, I can't even really think of. I can't think of a beat that we got and either I was just like crazy about it, he wasn't, or vice versa, or it normally was just like, you know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a different sound, and I'm gonna go out on a ledge and say it's a Philly sound, but you got a lot of artists out there, especially at that time, where they could only hit one market. You know what I mean? Like going back to what I was saying, they could only be underground or they could only be mainstream. You feel me? So the Minds of Soul was all over the place, not on the unorganized shit, but just all over the place where we could dab in this, dab in that, and we were just looking for the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to make a little noise, trying to, you know what I mean? Like we're all not only artists, but like I like to write. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I've always liked to write, whether it was music, poetry, stories, whatever it may be. So, you know, that just lets other people build off of what you're doing. So for instance, you got Court with some ill ass beats, you got Hot with some, you know what I'm saying, some ill ass rhymes, you got me with some ill ass rhymes, you put that shit together, you know what I mean? You got the Minds of Soul right there.
Yeah, true that.
You got the Minds of Soul, like it, and even if niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like, even to this day, I run into cats, and they talk about, y'all heard of the Minds of Soul? You know, we're talking 10, 12, 13 years later.
Basically, what we were doing, we was just making shit that sound good to us and shit.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, we wasn't even dealing with, like, nobody to fuck us. Like, not, you know, it wasn't even like, it wasn't even that we really gave a fuck. It was just that we was just doing us.
Yes.
And by us doing us, we stayed true to ourselves. We wasn't chasing what was going on or whatever. We was just MCs that was on their thing, as far as just doing what they do. Somebody pick up.
Shout out to Big Spiz too, Big Spawn. He was definitely
what up? Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of situations.
Like the fourth member or whatever like that. Definitely.
Definitely. Big up the Spawn, you know what I mean?